We have our pegboard assembled with all the pegs, and if we look at our instructions, we also need to make a mallet, and we have some dimensions for this. If we look at our different our drawings here, we've got a sketch for the profile of the mallet. You notice this has these kind of grooves cut into it, and then it has a handle that's attached. And also these edges, like the corners, are rounded, so there's a chamfer on that. And we have some dimensions to make the mallet right here. So we've got, it looks like this section is 0.875, so that's 7/8 of an inch. It's 3 inches tall. This little cutout is a 1/2 inch. The center of it is a 1/2 inch down from the top and a 1/2 inch up from the bottom, 0.500. And it looks like we have a dimension in here that this is 0.100. It looks like is the dimension that we need for those cutouts. Let's see, so let's go ahead and get started with what we have. So when we go into Onshape, let's make another new part. So click Onshape, create a new document, call this Mallet, create that. Alright, it's not going to make a big difference which plane we select. I'm going to select the front plane. I would select the front or the right for this actually. So let's create a sketch on the front plane and then focus the view cube. We're going to make a corner rectangle, and our dimensions that we looked at were 0.875 and 3 inches for the height. Now we also, at the same time, I want to add these little cutouts that are going to be in this. I'm going to use a circle, center point circle, and I want to locate the circle on this line. So I'm going to select the center point, start to drag it out, and that was supposed to be 0.1. So if I click, now I can type in 0.1, and then I need to do that down closer to the bottom as well. So I'm going to make another circle here, make that 0.1, and then I need to locate that, and it was a 1/2 inch up from the bottom and a 1/2 inch down from the top. So use the dimension tool from the bottom line to the center point of the circle, should be 0.5, and then again from the top to the center point of the circle should be 0.5. Now I don't need the extra parts. I'm going to trim what I don't need. That, and then zoom in. I don't need this or that. Okay, and do the same thing down here for this lower section, just like that. All right, now what we're going to do, we're going to actually do a revolve. So instead of extrude, we're going to go to revolve. And when we select this profile, then it asks us to select an axis to revolve it around. So we need to select the profile, and then the axis is going to be this. And then it revolves the shape around that axis. And we've got these little cutouts right there. So that's what I want. Click the check mark. And then I need to add this chamfer. And I want to chamfer the top and the bottom, the very bottom edge. And then the distance here, I want to make that as just 0.1 as well. And I'm going to click the green check mark. And kind of focus that. So we have our the mallet right here. The other part that we need is a handle, but if you notice, let's move down here. We should end up with a hole that we can attach the handle to. So we're going to need to place that, and if we look further, we notice there are threads on this handle, so we need to thread this hole so it fits, appropriately with the handle. And we know that this is a 0.625 inch diameter handle, and we have threads that extend 5/8 of an inch from the edge. So with that information, we can go back to Onshape, and we're going to go ahead and create that tapped or threaded hole so that we can make the handle. What we're going to do here, we need to create a sketch, but we need it to be perfectly even with the edge of this cylinder. And so the word for that would be tangent. So what we're going to do is create a sketch, but we need to first create a work plane to attach our sketch to. So if we look up here, we have some options. Plane, let's create a plane. And let's see if we have this option here. So if we create a plane and then select this, now notice we've got an option possibly, there we go, that is tangent. So I want to create a sketch, a plane tangent to this cylinder. And so now notice, like, if I click the front view, you can see this plane is perfectly even with the front of this cylinder. So that's exactly what I want. I'm going to click the green check mark. And now I'm going to create a sketch on plane 1, the one that I just created. And so I want to go ahead and focus on the right side because this plane is like perfectly in line with that. And it might make more sense if I hide some of these other planes possibly, but I think for now it's going to be, well, let's just do that. Hide the front plane, hide this plane, and I think that'll help. All right, so we're actually looking at plane 1 here is what we're going to reference. Now, go ahead and we're going to add a point right there to the center of this cylinder, right there. And let's add some dimensions. I'm just kind of looking through some options here. Okay, so let's, before we do that, where it says use, project, convert, if we select this, we can select like the top edge of our cylinder or these different parts. You notice as we move the mouse, you can see these different parts. I want this edge, and the top. And let's just get the bottom. So now we have some parts that we can dimension to. So if I select the dimension tool, I can go from the point to this side, and that distance should be 0.875, which it is. And then my distance from this point to the top should be 1.5. And so that adjusts it for me right there. Now I can finish the sketch. Click the green check mark. And one of the tools I have is to create a hole. All right. Now let me tilt the view cube so you guys can see this. So select the hole command, and the hole should attach to this point. Now the thing you have to look at in this menu that comes up for the hole is that it's tapped. So you click the check mark or the little drop down arrow, make sure it says tapped. And the size was supposed to be 5/8 of an inch, so that's right here. And then we've got the threads, that's 11 teeth per inch, coarse threads, that's fine. And scroll down a little bit. Okay, we're going to drill it in 7/8 of an inch, that's 0.875. And we're going to have the threads extend 0.875 as well. We could change that dimension, and all that would do, if we make that 5/8 like 0.625 instead, that just means that the threads aren't going to go quite as deep as the actual hole. So we can leave it at that. Click the green check mark. And then we've got this threaded hole that we can put the handle in. Notice it doesn't go all the way through. Now if I select, right click this and hide the right plane, and even hide this plane would be fine at this point. You can kind of see that a little better maybe. All right, so that is the top of the mallet. So go ahead and work on that. We'll come back in a minute and make the handle.